Drawing from life is often very challenging at first because as humans, we're used to categorizing what we see as objects or things. However, when we're learning to draw from life, we need to forget what we know and instead learn to draw only what we see. The challenge then becomes teaching our brains to quiet down and stop judging whether our drawing looks like the object it is, and instead judge whether our drawing looks like the shapes we are seeing in front of us. Hi, I'm Carolina, and in this video I will go over a few tips and tricks to help you learn how to draw from life. My reference for this video is my favorite book on the subject, Keys to Drawing by Bert Dodson. I highly recommend this book to anyone interested in drawing regardless of your skill level. The first tip is to forget about making your drawings look good. This is probably the most important and most challenging tip I can give you. If you want to learn how to draw from life, you have to forget about making things look good and instead focus on drawing what's in front of you. When you're first learning to draw from life, your only goal should be this: to draw what you see. So anytime you begin criticizing your work as not good or bad or ugly, stop and remind yourself that your goal is not to draw something beautiful or even good. Your goal is just to learn and experiment, and as long as you're pushing yourself to try new things and continue drawing what's in front of you, you're doing it right. The next tip is to keep your eyes on your subject as you draw. Often when we draw, we keep our eyes on our drawing for too long, trying to make the drawing look good instead of trying to make the drawing look like what's in front of us. It's important to learn to keep our eyes on our subject most of the time and only look down at our paper to keep our lines on track. It feels strange to do this at first, but it makes sense that we should learn to observe our subject when we're trying to draw from observation. The next tip is to learn to see shapes instead of objects or things. When you look at your subject, you need to forget what the object is and focus on the shapes you are seeing. For example, if you're drawing a flower, you need to forget that you're seeing a flower or petals or a stem. Instead, you need to start thinking of the shapes you're seeing and describe them to yourself. Wide and short curves, sharp edges, areas that are long and narrow, rounded rectangles, triangles that bend and taper, and so on. The more you do this, the more you'll realize that shapes in real life are never exact geometric shapes. Whenever you see a circle, you're always seeing it at an angle, so you're always actually seeing an oval. You need to really study the shapes you're seeing and transfer them onto paper. My final tip is to use what Mr. Dodson calls practical dialogue. Typically, when we're just learning how to draw, our minds tend to use critical dialogue, where we're very judgmental of our work and use phrases like, "this doesn't look right," or "I'm so bad at drawing people," and we focus on trying to make our drawings look like the object we are drawing. Instead, we need to use practical dialogue that can help us visualize the shapes we are seeing in front of us and transfer them onto paper. To do this, we must ask ourselves questions like, what does this shape look like? Is this line straight or tilted? How far apart are these two shapes? And also describe the shapes we are seeing using helpful adjectives like, this rectangle has a straight edge on the left and a curved edge on the right, or one of these triangles is twice as tall as the other, or the base of this shape lines up with the base of this other shape. It will likely take some time for you to get used to using practical dialogue, but as long as you continue practicing and focusing on drawing what's in front of you, your drawing skills will improve, and the easier it'll be for you to ignore your critical thoughts as you draw. Those are all the tips I have for you today. I hope you feel inspired to try drawing from life on your own now. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll try my best to help out. Thank you for watching, and I'll have a new video up very soon.